Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to give you a quick tour through some of my ecosystems here that you can see in the back. Also I'm going to show you how I dismantle my greenhouse tank that I use to grow out aquarium plants to save some serious money. And then after dismantling my greenhouse tank I'm going to show you how I set up my paludarium tank. More specifically, the sediment layer of my paludarium tank. This is the first layer and this is always very important to have a good substrate in your fish tank. I'm going to show you what I use, this beautiful white sand here. I'm going to show you what pump I'm using. Because I'm not using a aquarium specific pump, I'm using a small pond pump, which is very cheap. And if you want to know how to set up such a paludarium with a land area and with a water area and with a proper sediment, stick around, watch until the end. If you also want to learn how to save some serious bugs, it's really worth watching this video. These are small lemon, or we call them kumquat sprouts here in Germany, and I just put them in there. You can see some orange seeds, but the ones that have sprouted or grown already are called kumquats, and they are super tasty. Maybe I'm going to give an update on them as well in the future. But let's put them to the side for a moment. More glasses, more projects, and this completely natural setup here. No filter, no CO2, no pump. So this was my Christmas present this year. Super nice actually. Some screwdrivers and some bits for my cordless drill, and let's look for the right one. Check. So this is the right one for this screw here. So first I have to remove this shelf here, because I want two levels in this ecosystem. Basically, I want a land area and a water area. 50% of the tank's supposed to be water, 50% roughly is supposed to be land. And in the land area I'm planning to have this avocado tree that you just saw. It's already quite big and it will be very big soon, so it will grow. If the tank is here, it will grow until here, at least, even if I cut it. So to have enough space for it, I have to remove this shelf here. It's quite simple. Of course, I need some space here, which is tough if you have aquariums everywhere. Let's just move it to the side here quickly. Okay, there. This should also be the same one here. Actually, when I do clean things in my fish room or in my animal room, I always only clean it with just clear water. The same water I use to water the plants. Just to prevent any artificial, like washing or cleaning chemicals to get into my tanks, because this would instantly kill my animals or hurt them really bad and kill the plants. So I would also advise you guys to do that. Just plain water is usually enough if you keep it clean. See, it's just super clean already. So before I was using this lid here. It's a transparent plastic lid, and I put it on the top of the tank, just like this. And since the window of my room is on the side here, this served as a greenhouse, so to say. So there's glass everywhere, light is coming in, light is reflected, goes down to the plants, so the avocado tree and these small ground plants here. And this way it grows without the need of additional light sources like the light I have here. And this has multiple benefits. Mainly, you don't ever need to replenish the water because the water doesn't evaporate, because it can't exit here. And secondly, the greenhouse gas, or the greenhouse effect, basically, the reflection of all of the light back into the tank and onto the plants, makes the plants grow faster. Yeah, those are the main benefits, and this way you can save a lot of money with using grow-out tanks or greenhouses this way. And you can also use smaller boxes. Like for instance, I got this box here from IKEA. It was, if I remember correctly, €5. You can see the number here if you want to purchase it. This is not a product placement or anything. You can use anything that you can find in retail, maybe at Aldi, Lidl, or at Walmart if you are from the US, or at any other retail store. Just a transparent box. You don't need to heat it or anything, so you don't need to worry about anything that could create cancer or something in your animals. Just put your soil in there, put your plants in there, and they will grow, and everything will be cool. So the first step is to obviously empty this old tank, because we want to create a new ecosystem in there, right? So first of all we have to clean it a little bit, or actually not too much, because there obviously is life in there already, there are beneficial bacteria in there, plants are growing great. So I'm just going to remove them and just put stuff on top of it. There's no point in cleaning this this floor here. Yeah, but definitely have to remove the avocado tree. And the root system looks amazing already. Check it out. And the top of the tree. It's difficult to hold this thing still. But yeah, all in all, amazing tree already, and I want to give it the same. It's growing in aqua soil here. I want to give it roughly the same substrate again. So I have to collect the aqua soil now and get out these ground plants. For that, I'm using an old food container. This was a container, I think cherry tomatoes or some other vegetable were in there. Just going to just reuse this as a container to keep the plants temporarily until the new setup is done. Just put them in there. And you know, this is worth, if you buy this in the pet store or online, this is like basically €20 of plants, €20 worth of plants. Showed it in one of my other videos in the huge ecosystem tank, how I grew out these plants and then added them to my tank. They actually, to be honest, didn't do well in this bigger tank, because I think they really appreciate this kind of half submerged and half not submerged state. So half of the plant is underwater, the roots are completely underwater, completely wet all the time, like in a swamp basically, and the other half is facing the air, or is in direct contact with the air. And some guys told me, or some followers, I don't know if they're guys, some people on YouTube told me, who follow my channel, that these plants grow way better if they are directly in contact with the air, because the air has more CO2 than if they are submerged underwater. And since I don't fertilize with CO2, or since I don't use CO2 fertilization on top of what's emitted by my animals anyways and by the plants, because animals and plants both breathe, right? They both, how to say, they both take in oxygen and excrete CO2. So if you have a lot of animals, of course, there's going to be a lot of naturally occurring CO2. Also some other bioprocesses release CO2, but apparently was not enough to keep these in a fast, to get these plants to grow fast. They are not dead in the bigger tank, but they just don't look that great. Yeah, so let's put those to the side here. I think we are going to reuse them in the ecosystem later on, and it's important. I mean, they are still wet, and here it's not that dry at the moment. You can see the water down there, but always keep them wet. Always keep them wet, otherwise your valuable plants will just die. That's what you want to prevent. Next step is to just put the aqua soil into this container. Also just temporarily, we are going to reuse it in a minute for the new setup. It's difficult to do this in a way that doesn't make my whole place dirty. And you can always make a smell test. It smells completely neutral. Or not completely neutral, it smells a little bit like a forest or soil from a forest, which is a very good sign. It doesn't smell as terrible as the jar with the scuds in there. Ugh, this is really disgusting. But this smells really good because it's, I would say, fairly well aerated. There's a lot of air coming there. I mean, basically 98% of this tank is air, the rest is water, and this aqua soil doesn't really rot that fast, or not at all actually, which is definitely an advantage of using this stuff. I'm usually not in favor of using artificial, like soil types or soil that is produced specifically for aquariums, because it has the exact same purpose or the exact same characteristics as other soil that you can get from your garden or for plants, but it's like usually 10 times as expensive. And I'm not joking. This is not an exaggeration at all. It is really usually multiple times as expensive as the stuff that you can get in the DIY store that is not specifically meant for aquariums or for fish keeping. And really, I showed this in my other video where I prepared the soil for my ecosystem tank. There's no point in using specifically fish tank, fish substrate or aquarium substrate. At least not for the tanks that I have. Maybe you have another opinion, maybe you use different or more, how to say, sophisticated animals that have more requirements regarding specific soil types or specific water parameters. Then if you have a different opinion, put it in the comments. I would be interested in hearing your thoughts. And I'm sure there's some merit to buying the expensive soil from the pet store. But for me, I tested both and didn't really make a difference. Also, I'm not sure if you can see it very well. I could try to catch it here. There's some duckweed in this tank. You can see it here. Duckweed, I love duckweed, but if you don't like it, it's so difficult to get rid of it. It's the absolute survival specialist of nature, I would say. Duckweed is really crazy. Quite amazing, but really crazy. So next I want to clean the glass from the inside a little bit. It's not that dirty, just got a little bit dirty in the process of removing the aqua soil. So I'm going to clean it a little bit, just with plain water. because in the next step I will pour sand over it. And of course there shouldn't be a lot of stuff going on the sand, right? Like I don't want to have too much aqua soil on the sand to disturb the beautiful looking sand. Because I got this sand from the DIY store. It's play sand. It's beautiful sand. It does look super clean, super clear. And the best thing is, for me as a Swabian, you know, I'm a half Swabian from Germany, from southern Germany, and if you know one thing about Swabians, they love saving money where they can. And since I'm a half Swabian, I love saving money. And this play sand was so cheap that it really makes me smile right now. No, all jokes aside, it's high quality play sand. It's very good quality, as I said, and it's very cheap. So why not use it for your tank? It worked extremely well in the large ecosystem tank. So I'm definitely going to reuse it in this setup here. Now, usually you don't need to do this to get this one here, this front glass dry. It has no point because actually I'm going to get it wet in a minute anyways. However, you guys want to see something in the video, that's why I need to get it dry with some dry paper towel here. But only the front glass, because the other glass you don't need to see through at the moment. I'm using this rake here, or this tool, I don't know what the proper name is. I think rake should be the proper name in English. I'm just going to distribute it a little more evenly here. Now I know it scratches a little bit the glass down there, but honestly, who cares? This glass is not going to be seen by anyone in any kind of setup, so that doesn't matter too much. And again, I know this is not a lot of soil, but you see my other scapes. Plants with, if you have too much soil, they just actually grow too fast, and I want to prevent this in this scape here, because I'm fed up with throwing away super expensive aquarium plants all the time. What I'm doing here now is create a little bit of space, because this is where I will place my rock foundation, so to say, in the middle of this setup. And obviously you don't need soil there, because there's going to be a lot of soil in the rock foundation, so to say. So I don't want that. And I'm going to put it away a little from the front area. Also, I don't want too much growth there. See? And it's really a way to control your plant growth, basically. If you don't want it in certain areas, just don't put soil there. Plants will, at some point they will grow there, but they will grow way slower. They will grow way slower, will be easier to control, so to say. So, maybe also here a little bit. Although there I like to have some plants at some point. So if you look at it from the top, plants will grow here, or can grow here, there. Not there, because here I will in the end have my big, not big, but will have my island section, so to say. Let's continue with some sand. And I learned this in other YouTube aquascape tutorials, that you should always put your soil, for instance your sand, into a slope, kind of. Yeah, I'm going to go for it in some way to create this kind of sense of depth for the tank. However, the main center of attention in this tank will be this central area where we have this small rock foundation with some other hardscape, and therefore this is not that important in this tank. Also, there's no point in rinsing or anything, just put it in. Found someone here, small bladder snail. I love bladder snails. I know most of you love them as well. I did a quick survey. Don't want to bury it in the sand. I think it would actually survive being buried in the sand because it can unbury itself, but I don't want to risk it. Just put it into my other tank over here, and we'll put in bladder snails later anyways. Now, I actually forgot one important thing. It's now a little bit annoying. I want to put a mat under this tank to distribute the weight more equally. Just put the mat here. It's a little hole, so maybe let's turn it around. So now I'm just cutting the foam mat here. And it's not going to be 100% straight, the cut, but in the end I will just move it around, and so you don't really see it in the end.
Also darf ich jetzt mich...
Das ist nichts. Schneide ich wieder zusammen. So, just cut it roughly. Doesn't need to be extremely beautiful. Because I will show you how we can cover this up in a minute. These ugly edges here. Front is done. Now the side here, just the same way. Watch out not to scratch your glass. Now, what I'm going to do is just move it like this. And then, because I now have the edge that I cut before on the back of the tank, you can't see it anymore, and it's very like a super straight edge actually. And now it looks good, I would say. Now here it's a little not super straight. Can use a razor blade for that. No, it's definitely not perfect, but this is the edge of the room here, so nobody's going to see it anyways, so we are fine. Okay. Now, simply by removing this mat here, we saved another few bucks, which if you do this, if you save some bucks everywhere, it really adds up and will save you a lot of money in the long run. That's why I like mentioning this in my videos at all points, because you guys don't need to waste your money for unnecessary stuff. If you have an old mat, you can reuse it, and basically you can use this mat. You don't need an aquarium specific mat for that. This one was a mat that in this small tank here I used the mat that you put into your car on the ground. It's also soft and it distributes the weight of the tank equally. That's the whole purpose of this. In some tanks you don't even need it. Like in my bigger tank, in the ecosystem tank, I didn't even need the mat. But yeah, no need to purchase a new one in this setup here. Right. Now what I want to do is aim for this slope that I mentioned before. By simply distributing the sand here. So maybe I'll have to add some more sand, because the soil is still a very important part of the ecosystem, right? The deep substrate contains a whole like fauna, or fauna, you could say. Fauna and flora actually of itself. There's fungi, there's bacteria, there's viruses, there's archaea in there that all have beneficial how to say, that are beneficial for your tank. So you want to give them as much soil space as possible, and also just from a look perspective, I want it to be even. That's more what we humans care about. Our animals don't care about this at all. Okay, let's add some more soil or some more sand here, because this is clearly not enough yet to be a deep substrate. Just going to add it back here. It's easier to distribute. So usually I would add even more sand. However, since this is an IKEA shelf that is not supposed to have an aquarium on it, I won't use more soil now. I can also just distribute it with my hands, because this rake here is a bit small actually for this job. So. There are some air pockets in there. They will naturally fill up with water later. Still trying to compress them a little bit. Alright. Like I'm aiming for like this river look. So the rocks are going to be in there, and I want to have the filter or the pump in here, accessible through the back maybe, and I have to build something for this, because this is not this shouldn't be directly put on the sand, because then it's going to pump the sand, and this is not good for the filter. For that I want to use this old container. It's a tomato container that had tomatoes discounted for 89 cents. That's I think $1. I don't know how much tomatoes cost in the US or in other countries or in India. I have a lot of US followers and Indian followers. curious to hear what tomatoes would cost in your countries, but for us it's like $1 or 89 cents if you have it in euros. And I want to put this container here. I'm going to put the lid away. And I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. There's 2 holes already in there. If this is going to be enough to get enough water in there, but we will see in a minute. So this is the pump I'm using. It's not a filter, again. I don't need a filter in this tank. It's going to be such a low bio load, and my filter is going to be the plants in the end. I will show you how the filter system works basically. I'm going to build a natural filter here, but yeah, let's look at this pump here. So this is the pump. It's super tiny. Look at it. It's compared to the size of this container here. It is so small, but it's going to be enough. And comes with this handy thingy here, which I actually like. Can reuse this later. Let's see. Okay, I think. So simply to get the cable through here, you need like a small hole to get this through, and it's more like this kind of a thingy here. So like this, maybe a little longer actually. So it goes all the way down to the floor. And yeah, I think these 4 thingies down there should be enough to let water pass through. And like this. And like this, you have this small container for this pump, and that should be enough to keep everything separated from each other, right? Just put it here. Now, unfortunately, you probably cannot build transparent electric cables, because that would be actually nice here in the setup, or in any setup, because it disturbs a little bit the look later, but maybe we can cover it somehow. Maybe if we put it here, or actually if we put it here, this way, because nobody's going to watch into the tank from this side. You can't actually, because there's a wall this way. Right, good. So then we can just have the cable going over the, what's it called? Over the rim of the tank on the side here. And this is black anyways, so you're not going to see it, right? This is actually nice. And then you can put a table on the ground and it shouldn't disturb anything here. Oh, I like that. Need some more cable and a way to fix this cable on the top here. Don't have an idea on how to do that yet, but I will come up with something. Alright friends, now that you have arrived at the end of this video, which is quite long, first of all, thank you for that. I'm sure you want to know how this journey of this paludarium here continues. If you're interested in how I set up the base here So how I structurally set it up and how I put aqua soil in there that doesn't float out of it, please click on the next video right here where I explain all of that in detail. See you in the next video.